Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing, proud to bring you 4 3-minute rounds in the middleweight division. On the bell, our timekeeper, Mr. Bob Edgeworth. Referee for this one, Mr. Lee Cook. Introducing, in the red corner, wearing black shorts, white trim. On the scales, 11 stone, 8 pounds. Coming to the ring in his second contest, from Manchester, known as the Black Warrior, Yailton Neves. In the blue corner, wearing the black shorts with red trim. On the scales, 11 stone, 10 pounds, 8 ounces. Former multiple amateur champion, proud to be a member of Team GB. Tonight, making his professional debut from Woking, Berkshire, Felix.
Okay, you both know the rules. Defend yourself at all times, keep your punches clean and on target, and when I tell you to break, do so straight away and take a step back. Shake hands. Good luck to you both.
Pro debut then for a young man who has set his ambition very, very high indeed. Says he wants to be a world champion one day. So Felix Cash from Wokingham, not coming in, settling for anything very low. Wants to go all the way. Let's see how he gets on in his debut against another novice, Yailton Neves of Manchester, originally born in Portugal. This is just his second appearance in a professional ring. The southpaw, he was stopped inside 2 minutes on his debut by Nottingham puncher Curtis Valentine. He may not last even that long on this one because he's gone down the first time Cash has landed.
Well, that punch was beautifully picked here, timed perfectly. He just stopped Neves and then let it go. Ah, terrific stuff.
Yeah, Neves is in way over his head here by the look of it. Cash has been part of that elite GB setup for the last 3 years. And when he hasn't got the nod for Rio, they said, well, let's get on with it. Turn pro. See what'll happen. And again, landing a very clean right hand, another sharp right hand counter there, and he's just got way too much speed for Neves, who's just getting battered at the moment. These are fast hands Cash has got. That's a very high-end sparring. I mean, he sparred with James DeGale. Sorry to interrupt you there, Jim, in DeGale's last fight, and James was impressed with this fella, so keep an eye on him.
Yeah, well, you can see he's not going to take any time to adapt to the pro style. Excellent style, perfect style for the pros, but he's stepping right. Okay, he's doing pretty much as he pleases here. This is his debut, and he's having everything his own way. But nah, I like he has a good look about him. He looks to have natural power. Good variety of punches there. A couple of times he's landed a couple of uppercuts already. Just getting a little talking to from the referees, over eager there. But he doesn't hang about, does he?
He certainly doesn't. And Neves is in full survival mode here. Another one of those uppercuts coming in. He can't even hold Cash off when he tries to tie him up.
I mean, this is quite a nervous night for any fighter. Your pro debut. He's obviously sold a lot of tickets. He wants to put on a good show. I look forward to seeing him when he settles down a little bit, uses the jab, uses his skills, getting a telling off here. That's just because he's completely over-anxious to get this job done. But no, I like the look of him, but I'm looking forward to matches in the future when we'll see more of his skills. All he wants to do here is get Neves out of there
and put on a show. Neves, to his credit, has regrouped well. Well, it looked like he was going to get completely overwhelmed in the first minute or so of this fight.
He carries his hands very low,
really
Neves,
does.
which is he's going to pay the price. Because Cash is getting right close up to him, stalking him, manoeuvring him around the ring. Just maybe a little bit too intent and getting the finish with one shot. Ah, lovely. He's picks that right hand beautifully.
Yeah, really did. That's the first round of Felix Cash's professional career in the bank. Had his man on the floor. And he'll go back and listen to Johnny Edwards, who's been looking after Felix since he was 11 years old.
Just out of range with your right hand. You need to get over the cross to left and then walk him on the backhand. Look, try the body.
Now, the first right hand, you know, he really picked it nicely. Look at that. That looked like a finisher. Full credit to Neves for getting back up again. And he didn't look badly hurt. But when you look at the punch, it really looked like a finisher. That looked, in an instant, I thought the fight was over there. And I think Cash thought the same. So a little bit of credit to the other guy for taking that shot and seeing the round out.
Round two of this four-rounder then. Felix Cash, the GB international, up against Yailton Neves, the Manchester southpaw. And let's see how Cash settles down and paces himself through this four-rounder. I mentioned he's been sparring with James DeGale. He's been in with the likes of Chris Eubank Jr. and Jamie Cox as well, so he's running with some heavy hitters in terms of sparring partners at a very, very young age indeed.
He just wants every punch to be a finisher at the moment. I'd like to see him using the jab. You know, we got a chance to, I mean, he's a top-class amateur, so we know what he can do. But I'd like to see him showing some of that here in his debut. Boxing well, controlling things, winning it how he likes. Just maybe settle down a little bit and let it happen. Don't force it to happen.
Well, that's a lesson he'll learn as he develops, of course. And it's understandable. It's your debut. You want to set off some fireworks. Neves trying to land punches of his own, but well out of range. Nice combination from Cash. It was a bit wild with the last shot of the combination, that left hand. Neves had gone.
Well, he's using the jab now a bit more. That's better. Settling down, putting his punches together nicely, leaving Neves no avenue of escape.
I think as much as Cash has settled down a little bit, Neves looks like he's settled into this one after the shock of what happened to him in the first minute and a half.
Yeah, he's covering up a little bit better now, although he still does that tendency to drop his hands too low. But he's seeing the punches coming now, and I think a lot of that is down to the fact that Cash is too intent in finishing it with one shot.
He's showing some decent defensive skills here now, Neves. Popped a little left into the body there as well. So it's up to Cash to put him back in his place, because this fella's starting to build a little bit of confidence, you know. Caught him nicely there with the left hand. Yeah, this body language from Neves is really totally different than what we saw 3 minutes ago. Well, I'm not going to go as far as to say Yailton Neves did enough to win that last round, Jim, but he certainly looked the happier and more comfortable of the two the longer that round went on, and that was a surprise.
Yeah, but he settled down nicely, but I think a lot of it was the fact that Cash was making a bit obvious what his intentions were. I mean, it's time to use his skills, you know, get the left hand working, especially against that southpaw stance, and just don't be so intent in finishing it with every punch.
Round three then of this four-rounder between these two novices. Felix Cash, the fellow that's had all the advantages, 3 years on the GB squad. He's had nothing to worry about in terms of his finances and his training. Yailton Neves has had it a little bit tougher. But the Manchester man showing he's got some skills. This is training in the Oliver Harrison gym as well, so he'll learn a lot from Oliver, who is here tonight looking after Martin Murray, of course, in our chief support against George Groves. He's definitely starting to fancy this Neves, you know.
Not landing much at the moment, but he's making it difficult for Cash to pin him down. See, you can see Cash cocking the right hand. You know what's coming, you know. I mean, no wonder it's not landing. Neves can see exactly what punch is on its way.
Oh, that landed, but it had no effect on Cash.
Yeah, and he took a couple of better ones back.
So here's Cash straight back on him. And clipping him with a little left hook as he drops his hands again.
Just looking a little bit negative at the moment, Neves. I think maybe some of these punches are taking their toll on him.
Well, I wonder if that clean shot that just bounced off Cash messed with him mentally a little bit as well. He hit him with a real good clean shot, and as you said, Jim, it had no effect, and he got clipped with a couple of even better in return. No, he's just complaining about something there, Neves.
His heart seems to have gone out of things a little bit in the last minute or so.
There's definitely a little bit of reluctance about something there, just got out of range. There as, again, Cash loaded up, but Cash just walked forward now, dropped the gloves.
Well, I thought in the opener it was shaping up like a little bit of a mismatch, but it's actually a good debut for him. You know, he's having to work here to try and pin this fellow down. And not quite having its own way, all his own way, winning things obviously, but having to work.
And as you said, Jim, Neves showing that there's more to his game than what we saw in that opening minute or so. You're a golfing man, Jim. You'll know this fella, of course.
Yeah, and if you're talking about power, that gentleman's got some of his own.
Just a bit.
Second round, boom, and lost round.
Well, I didn't think we'd hear that announcement a minute into this fight when Felix Cash had nailed Yailton Neves on the floor and just being dazzled by the speed of his opponent. But Neves has rallied and responded well, just ripped in a little right uppercut there of his own. Not done enough to win any of the rounds in Neves, but enough to give Felix Cash a decent enough workout here. And I'm sure he didn't come into this thinking it was going to be easy in the pro game, but he's certainly learned it isn't going to be.
And that was a cheeky uppercut lead that Neves landed as well. Oh, good shots there.
Yeah, now he's really ripping through. And Neves doing the right thing. Trying to hold on, just hold on there. And another little telling off.
I think maybe punching after the call to break there.
For the second time.
I just think he's been a little bit, you know, too fired up tonight, Cash. I mean, you can see there's talent there, and obviously his amateur credentials, he certainly has talent. But it's a difficult night, your pro debut. You want to impress everyone, and everyone wants a stoppage win, and I think he was intent on getting that. So maybe we didn't give Neves enough credit. And it's, at times he's found it heavy weather just to land clean punches, Cash.
Well, as I said earlier, Jim, just look at the difference in how these three have been developed, these two have been developed in the last 3 years. With Cash part of that GB squad, everything is looked after for you. It's a very, very professional setup. You learn fast. You don't have to worry about where your food's coming from, where your money's coming from. And Neves hasn't had those benefits. He's only had one fight as a professional. It was a disaster. He was stopped inside a round. Yet the gulf between them, which you would think is huge, is nowhere near as massive as we would have thought. And whether that's a combination of Cash, as you say, wanting to impress too much on his debut, whether we didn't give enough credit to Neves, and I think we're guilty of that, Jim. Those are certainly factors in it, but Neves has actually impressed me with some of his skills the longer this has gone on. He looks like he could be a right tricky little customer.
His defensive skills, yeah, and the courage he's shown, because he has taken some, you know, solid shots. without flinching, apart from the knockdown. But even when he get up from the knockdown, I thought the knockdown looked like a finisher, but straight back up, no problem, and back on with the job. Yeah, so he does deserve a lot of credit. And it's turned out to be a good debut for Cash. Just a little reminder, it's a different game and it's a tougher game.
Yeah, again, he's got clipped with the left hand there, Cash. Never seems to have been even stung by Neves, who's landed some clean shots. This time he does break. Last few seconds then of what's been, as you say, Jim, a very entertaining four-rounder. Now that'll do it. Look at disappointment. Look at Felix Cash's reaction. Well, now there was a little smile, but I think, like you say, Jim, he wanted to come in, put on a show, get the big grandstand highlight reel finish, and it didn't come.
Yeah, everybody dreams about their debut, you know, their introduction to the pro game with a real bang. Looking first class, you know, getting the stoppage, everything falling into place nicely. And it turned in, it wasn't a struggle as far as winning was concerned, but it was a bit of a struggle to look good a lot of the time. But I think a lot of that was because he was too eager to get the stoppage. Maybe didn't use his skills enough, especially in the earlier rounds. But I feel there's a lot to like about Cash, and I look forward to seeing him in future fights. The debuts can turn into an awkward night, so we'll look forward to seeing how things open out for him in the future. Definitely one to watch.
Definitely. And just remember, there are plenty of people who've lost on their pro debut, who've gone on to win world championships as well. Felix Cash, I'm sure, will get off to a winning start in his pro career.
Referee scores this contest 40 points to 36. I do beg your pardon, 40 points to 35 in favour of the winner from Wokingham, Felix Cash.
On every round, there was the 10-8 knockdown as well. So there's confirmation. Felix Cash, job done. And Yailton Neves offered a little bit more in that fight than the scorecard would suggest. Be interesting to hear what Felix's assessment of his own performance is there. We'll get that after the photographs. Meanwhile, in his dressing room, Chris Eubank Jr. warming up, getting ready to defend his British middleweight crown against Tom Doran, with big fights on his horizon, assuming he gets through tonight. And one man who has got through tonight is Felix Cash. Let's hear from him with Andy.
Felix, an entertaining debut. Was it everything you hoped it would be?
Obviously, I was hoping to get a stoppage. Never happened. I think I've learned a lot in that fight. You know, I got the knockdown early. Maybe then I started watching things, you know, tensing up a bit, looking for the big shot. And I think only for that, if I relaxed more, maybe would have got him out there. But it never happened. To move on, it's a learning curve back in the gym and work on the mistakes I made.
Like you say, nearly the perfect start. Were you surprised to see Yailton Neves get up from that shot?
Yeah, I was, to be honest, yeah. It was a good shot, but one of them things is boxing for you, you know. Just take it in stride and learn from it.
You had a decorated amateur career. How far do you think you can go as a professional?
World champion, that's what I want to go for. And obviously, it's early days at the moment. Take step by step. That's what I want to do. Obviously, the dream's obviously become world champion. That's what I want to do.
Good start, well done.